quintessential point here to realize is God is doing this. It's not us. It's not our efforts. It's not certain techniques and practices and yoga and meditation and all that. Now, a divine experience can come while you're doing those practices and techniques. I've had divine experiences when I was in church. I've had divine experiences doing plant medicine. I've had divine experiences doing deep meditation. I've had such experiences when I was doing pranayama, when I was doing self-inquiry, when I was doing nothing at all, just some shift happened. So that's how I realized, oh yeah, it's not a particular thing that I'm doing. It's not like I'm going to get my college degree and so I pass all the tests at the university and then they give me the college degree. This was a great realization. Do I still do practices? Will I still go to a church if there's a feeling? Do I still do meditation and yoga when the feeling comes? But it's the life force doing it. It's doing it because it wants to do it. It helps to balance the gunas and the elements inside this human structure, which then is more conducive for divine experiences to come through. But it's grace that actually pushes the button on divine experience. And do I need to say grace or God isn't an entity up in the sky that has this master computer and it's like pushing buttons? Divine force, grace, it's unfathomable. It's not a thing. It doesn't have a quality. It's not an entity. It's very difficult for the mind to grasp because, well, the mind can't grasp it. Somehow intuitively you have to come to this to know. The divine itself is totally formless. It's created laws that run this whole cosmos. It just does. Those laws of karma, laws of dynamics, laws of frequency, all these laws control everything. How exactly? You can't understand that. The localized consciousness in this human body cannot understand that. If you're on higher plane and you have more subtle body, you have access to more, you can say, infinite knowledge, your potential's much higher, then you can understand these things better. In this body, on this realm, man, we can't hardly understand anything. The greatest master, if he's in a human body, can't understand anything compared to what some of these higher beings can understand on those higher realms. And those realms are for us too when we finish our work here. So, what's a divine experience though? When I'm talking about divine experience, what's a divine experience? It's when there's some kind of shift inside. Your outlook changes, your perception changes, there's a lightness in being. Things that used to get to you, they don't get to you like they did. At least during that divine experience. And those shortcomings of our character can come back and they can, the person that you don't have any affinity with, usually they piss you off when they say something, but when there's this shift that happened, all of a sudden, they don't piss you off. All of a sudden, you see the pain in them or the trauma that causes them to react in the way that they react. So it's how can you take that personal? How can you treat a sick person bad? It's like they're sick. You see somebody in a wheelchair and they're handicapped or they hooked up to a lung machine and then they stick their middle finger up at you, you're probably gonna have more compassion and empathy and tolerance than somebody else who seems more fit and they're just sticking their finger up at you just out of spite because we're trained that way. But the fit person who's sticking their middle finger up at you for no reason, apparently, they're sick spiritually. When there's a shift inside, something's aware of that. When you're stuck in human botism, you're not aware of it. You just take everything personal. Oh, he stuck his finger. I'm gonna have to show him these gains now because, I'm a karmic instrument. Hey, sorry, man, but you gotta pay. You see, it's a different orientation toward life. So when there's some kind of divine experience, that shifts, and there's more peace, and there's more serenity in your life. Oops, let me get situated. So there's no standard of what a divine experience is. It comes in all different forms. You can't. That's the other thing. The mind wants a checklist of like, what does it look like to have a divine experience? Or it imagines it's some lofty, mystical thing. Well, I can walk on water now, or levitate, or I'm at such peace 24/7. It's a one and you're done thing. Yeah, that's divine experience. Oh, damn it, I haven't had it yet. It's not like that. There's no like, flag post divine experience. Now for infinity, the rest of eternity, I'm like gonna be blissed out. Even if you feel bliss, a lot of the time, the frequency of the bliss will change. Everything's changing as long as we're in a form. So that should be recognized. What are some signs, though? Some signs you can say that you're being called to have a divine experience. By the way, everybody's destined to have a divine experience. We were talking about laws a little bit before. Okay, law of evolution. That's another law. You can't miss. Yeah, but this person's so bad and they kill people and there's no way. Their soul's so dark. Yeah, okay, this little life, it looks like that. Our perception's so narrow. You can't see the broad, infinite spectrum of things. If you could see a string of everybody's lives, past and future, present, it just would all make sense. But then it would mess the game up. It would be like too easy. We wouldn't have to, there would be no law of evolution. Law of evolution is where faith in things that we can't see it starts to increase. It's not belief. It's you just know. You know. Okay, even if I can't see it or feel it, see it on a tangible level, I know this is true. That's the law of evolution. These people that act crazy and that you think there's no hope for them, they're your future saints, actually. We just don't know. We don't know how long that will take. But what are some signs that you're going to be, we all have signs, but can you see them? And not with the imagination. People get too stuck on numbers and all this stuff. And they sometimes want me to comment on that. Look, if you see some serendipity type things and some numbers and 1111 all the time, good. Okay, it means you're on the right track. Don't make it any more than that. But I'm talking about other signs, not so surface level. It's when in your heart, this world out here, it somehow loses its attraction, its potency. It's just not so attractive anymore. You can't help it. You're not trying to like pretend it's not attractive. I really want to go to that club and mac these girls, but like I don't want to be attracted to that. No, it's not like that. You just can't. The vibration, there's no matching. There's no respondent vibrations in you that's drawing you to external things in this world. Law of evolution. It happened. So your attention to this external level keeps becoming less, and then there's a growing appreciation for this inner intangible reality, which keeps getting a little bit more tangible as time goes on, because the more you pay attention to something, it becomes more tangible. You start to have an interest in that more. You can't help it. It's not so much you're working on your problems. I got to figure these things out, and I want to be a good person, and I want to be successful. That's still, this is like, we're going beyond good intentions here, because I've found good intentions aren't enough. You can have all the good intentions in the world and walk out the door and fall down. So it's not that. It's just something in you keeps remembering in your own way and contemplating like the source of existence and how it's taking care of you, and that you want to keep merging with it more and more in whatever way that is. However you think about that or do that, so to speak, that's a sign you're being undone. And this human bot self is being more fused with the source that created it. That's the main sign. That's the main sign. It's not like how much am I going to force myself to meditate now every day, and you know, that's still surface level. You might still meditate a lot, but it happens in spite of you trying to meditate a lot. You just find, like, what else is there to do? Instead of going to the mall or the club or trying to get some dopamine stimulation, you rather just sit quiet. If somebody wants to call that meditation, okay, you call it, yeah, call it that if you want, okay. But you don't have that label in your mind that you're doing a meditative practice to try to buy my evolution, speed up my evolution with this practice. Although it does speed it up, but if there's a me behind what I'm doing for my own selfish motives, then the progress, if any, yeah, it's just not going to be so great. So that's a big sign, is when you just find yourself paying more attention to this source self that you are, that's in you, that's outside you, that's everywhere, that's all there is. You're paying more attention to that. Whatever that means, though. There's no instructions how to do that. Sit quiet with yourself and just sit there and just be open and just ask, like, how can I pay more attention to this source? I want to, if there's a calling to do that. First, there's a calling to do that. That's the first step. Then the mind takes that and says, well, how do I do it? What do I do? And blah, blah, blah. And then it gets all restless. So no, say, okay, I didn't put this inclination in me to connect more with the source. Like, where did that come from? It's just somehow revealing, it's unfolding. Okay, first be aware of that. It's not you that did it. And then secondly, be open to being shown how to cultivate that and pay attention to that and cooperate with that and to merge with that. And like I said, sit quiet and just get the download. But don't expect any download. Maybe you won't get any download. Doesn't matter. You're willing. I'm open to getting a download, God. And don't let the mind describe what a download looks like. Some voice or some strong impression or vision. This is all trouble. You're just open. You're open. You're like, I'm open. How can I connect more? I don't know. I'm just sitting here. I'm aware of, like, there's some deeper presence here. That's not. It doesn't belong to the emotional body or the mind. It's just some kind of spacious presence. Okay, cool. I'm just. The direction I'm getting is just to kind of sit with that and attune to that. There you go. Maybe that's one example or form that it can take when you ask, how can I connect more with the divine? It's let it tell you. Nobody can tell you. God won't allow somebody to make it easy and just tell you. All right, I wrote some things because this is an important topic, and it's raining, so I'm going to try to blow through this. In Florida, it rains. It can just, it's not like a flash flood, but it can really start pouring. Okay, so I was going to say how to respond to that call when it's calling you. Yeah, you do, like I said, pay attention to that and honor that. Don't just dismiss it. So that's the thing. We're conditioned to pay more attention to things that don't matter, that are superfluous and that are very temporal. We want to pay attention to that, get that quick hit, but we don't want to pay attention to something that actually gives us something eternal. That's the ironic thing. You want to pay attention to that. You want to pay attention. This calling, man, is all there is. That's the only thing that's ultimately going to satisfy you. Not that we still can't enjoy things out here. We're here to enjoy also. There's no all or nothing. Mine likes black and white, you know. But your real priority is to pay attention. Pay attention to this calling and let it guide you how to merge more with this calling. And I always touch on this in like every video to some degree or another, because these are the people I'm talking to, because these people are misunderstood, I feel, and there's not much, you know, mainstream talk don't address this. In fact, they say the opposite. And what I'm talking about is there usually is some level of pain and suffering that's embedded in this alchemic process that I'm talking about, of detaching more from the external and becoming more, your consciousness becoming more interiorized. that's just usually a grind, and that can come out in all kinds of ways. Emotionally, you can feel all messed up, and mentally out of sorts, and physically even you can be sick, and you just feel off, you know. And then worse than that, then you go try to find some spiritual answers from so-called spiritual people or spiritual groups, and then they make it look like you just need to meditate harder. Or just, hey, it's not who you are, don't identify with it. They say some nonsense like that, which shows they never actually went through this process. If you really went through this process, you can't say that. Like, you just can't dismiss someone's alchemic process, because you know that that's the process. That was in a recent video. Don't let this inner storm do its work. This is why you're feeling it. So this is like a prerequisite to what I'm talking about. And lastly, you're not some chosen. It's not like God chose you to go through this, to like, wow, I'm chosen now. I'm chosen because, like, Spirit's being born in me. Spirit's trying to be born in everybody, but they're so identified externally they can't hear it. That's all it is. It's not like you're special. I remember I had a friend. Yeah, until she started doing this, we were talking one day outside of a store or something, talking about she had a breakup with her boyfriend and then found Jesus. Right? That's when people find Jesus. When they break up with their boyfriend or girlfriend, and then, or they end up in prison. I like that saying where somebody says, "Where's Jesus? I'm looking for Jesus." Yeah, he's in prison. You find him there. So she was talking on that level, that subject, about very dogmatic, and was saying, I said, Jesus is the only way and all this. I said, what about these other countries and cultures? They've never heard of Christianity. Never even heard of it. It's not their fault. It's not their thing. They have a different, God shows very diverse. You have Hinduism and Buddhism and Christianity, and you have Muslim, and you have all kinds of things. There's not one religion that like predominates and has a monopoly on God. God's very inclusive, not exclusive. Remember that. So I said, what about these other cultures and stuff, She says, yep, not everybody's chosen. I said, you mean like they're just collateral damage? Like they're gonna burn in hell forever because nobody told them about Christianity? She couldn't really say anything after that, because what was happening was even herself could see how silly that sounds. The point is, there's no chosen. We're all chosen. There you go. Say that. Either nobody's chosen or we're all chosen. Both means the same thing. Because this is important to dissolve ego. Because the ego will take this calling that God put in your heart and start using it for its own purpose and start saying that I'm chosen. Don't you know, y'all? Like, careful, I'm chosen. If you don't listen to me, you're gonna have to pay the price, because it's like not listening to God. It's like that Messiah complex. You see how many pitfalls and traps there are? And the mind and ego is really good. They really do their job good. I like it. All right, I'll see you.